And then, of course, radio was the next big way, the most, probably even the more common way to hear music was through radio. But again, you have that many people on the radio. When you look at it, in hindsight, like I remember hearing the Eagles for the first time when I was a kid, stuff like that. It was really, really cool. And I heard them on the radio. Led Zeppelin, heard them on the radio. And I mean, I was a small kid too, and then of course all the other 8-track stuff. And then tape cassettes came along. And the thing about tape cassettes that was different from the 8-track was the tape cassette allowed the user to take the tape cassette and record what they wanted on it. So you had basically blank tape cassettes, where with you could do it with 8-tracks, but it was less common. 8-tracks were just kind of like the difference between, say, like records and CDs. So 8-tracks were just like a big box like this. And then the tape cassette was just a little tiny little thing about 2.5, 3 inches long. And whatever. So a lot of people, when tape cassettes came along, they discovered a lot of really obscure bands that, and of course bootlegs were everywhere, people going into concerts with little tape recorders and stuff like that. And of course the audio was always horrible, but it was a great way for promotion, even if the bands at the time some of them didn't appreciate it, right? But it made smaller bands bigger, and it expanded the reach, because you could send, like if you lived in Canada, you could send your tape cassette to your buddy in England, and whatever, your pen pal at the time, right? Or cousin or whatever. And that, obviously the CDs came along, but the same concept with the CDs, you could burn what you want. And then you had things like Napster. Napster comes along, and this is kind of the beginning of the end. Napster is the beginning of the end, in a sense, because people could not only get things, but they could get them for free. Meaning they didn't have to go out and buy the album. Somebody would just upload it, and maybe you got a good recording, maybe you didn't, but you could get it. And then of course there was all that lawsuit. Now you have iTunes and all that kind of stuff, right? But how many people will buy the actual song? Again, if you take somebody like Taylor Swift, I'm pretty sure for the billions of fans she has worldwide, maybe 1% probably buy her actual music online, maybe 5% or something like that. I don't know, I'd have to go look at the numbers. But when you look at it like that, yeah, that's a big enough base that you're going to get, a lot of, merch sold, stuff like that. So a lot of smaller bands, they make more money off of selling hats and t-shirts than they do selling their actual music, because people still consume the music for free. And so is there another way where you can win on this, where while people are getting your music for free, but you're still getting paid? Well, the videos, this is where a lot of people completely overlook this. And one of the things with videos is monetization of videos, right? So that is another way you may get rich, you may not. It depends on your fan base. So let's say you had a fan base of 1,000 people, okay? But they never bought a t-shirt from you, never bought a CD from you. Anybody making CDs now is kind of like, it's a bit of a waste of money, right? People just don't use that anymore. You're on CD Baby, or you're on iTunes, or whatever. Nobody's buying your music, but they watch your video. You got 1,000 people, and they watch your video 30 times each, and you get the ad revenue from that. That is another way to look at it. So the idea is to build your fan base. So, which has probably always been the core thing of everything, is the more people who know about you, the more potential you have. So next to gigs, next to those other ways of making money, you might not become a millionaire, you might not even become that popular, but there's potential. So I would focus on do the best you can do. Yes, in the beginning you're always doing sloppy stuff, whatever, but try to, make each song better than the last. And from there, see if you can put it areas where it costs you nothing to put it up, but you get a little bit of a benefit when people watch it. So to me, I think good money spent is going to a studio, or if you have your home studio, like I do, even if it's not a great one, make a video, monetize the video, and try to make money that way and build your fan base. Now, once you build a big enough fan base, you can scale this up to your own website, blah, 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 and just keep with the times. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think, like of great ways of making income as a musician. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, rising tide floats all boats. And one last thing I'll say before probably going on to another. Yeah, I was going on too long, but going on that long. But one thing, last thing I'll say is, a lot of people don't like to share their secrets of how they're doing it because they feel that it's giving an edge to the competition. And to those people, I say, you don't understand music, do you? Because that's not how it works. It's not like if this band is really good, no one will ever listen to that band ever, ever again. So you may have your favorite band, right? And me, it cycles all the time because I'm always looking for new music. But one thing I notice is that I don't just listen to one band. You might have noticed that about yourself as well. So yeah, just because one band might do a little bit more have a little bit more success, it doesn't mean you can't share uh, share in that success, because it doesn't really work like that. It doesn't work like, okay, and that's how a lot of people used to think about with the charts. If you were number one on the charts, you were winning, but if you were number two or number three, you were losing. I'm like, if you made it number three on the chart, if you made it number 100 on the charts, the amount of people that knew about you would be, yeah, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. So yeah, don't look at it as a competition, but also look at how the pros are doing it, especially those mediocre, not mediocre, that's a bad word, sorry, but medium bands that are they're not sponsored by the big studios. They're more independent. Look at how they're doing. A great band, for example, for me is Frozen Crown. They do almost everything themselves, but they know what to outsource. And they've given Frederico, he's given some really, really good, uh, you know, how tos for inspiring bands. Of, first you got, like Floor Jansen said, you got to be good. Like if you're not good, people aren't going to listen to you. It's that simple. It's not a harsh criticism. It's just reality. But even at that, punk, you know what I mean? You don't have to be good. You just have to find your niche, right? Um, I'm not saying that I'm any good, but I'm just saying that's reality. So yeah, look at what they're doing. Listen to some of their advice. What works for them might not necessarily work for you, but you might be able to extract something from it. And I'd love to see anybody that plays a musical instrument be able to live off that. I think that would be a beautiful world to live in. But the reality is most of us are never going to get there. No matter how hard we try, it's just sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. So what do? Do you give up? No. I'm at that age where I've dealt with if I don't make it by the time I'm 25, that's it. I give up. I'm like, then you don't understand music, do you? Because the music is from within. The instrument is the tool. The quality of the instrument is icing on the cake. And no matter what you do, uh, always do the best of your abilities, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm not saying you're just playing for you, but you're playing because you're trying to create. And when you create, you're learning and you're growing. And then you want to create and learn and grow more, which always has a inspiring way of doing things. Like you never get tired of it. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'll leave it at about that. But I'd love to hear from you guys. What are you guys doing? How you guys, what helpful advice do you guys have? Yeah. Uh, yeah. Share everything. Here we go. All right. Yeah. Have yourselves a great day.